Good afternoon, comrades. Salute. Got this comfy chair in the garbage dump the other day, and it doesn't quite show the head because it's a bit lower. Well, let's get right to it. So, since I got all trendy the other day and got all edgy, why not make another edgy video? But this one has nothing sexual in it, so you don't have to put on Marvin Gaye. You don't have to put on Rick James, and you don't have to put on any of that music because this is going to be the opposite, and it's an absolutely terrifying experience. The only thing I can compare it to was my hellish out of body experience. What makes this different is something that I don't share. Is that this involved substances, and in high school around that time frame, as a teenager, I was completely out of control, partying all the time, hanging out with the gangsters and criminals. Very literally, I'm not um, as literally as it gets, actually, which definitely sounds surprising, but it's true. I was quickly heading down the road of absolute disaster, and only by the grace of God, actually, my hellish experience was really the event that kind of thrust me forward and pulled me out of that entirely eventually, right? So, but especially in high school, I was an extreme risk taker. I didn't care. I took whatever, did whatever, anything I wanted. And something called jimsum weed. Okay, it's a plant that grows everywhere. It's kind of similar, I suppose. I don't know what you can compare it to. I guess it's like peyote, or it's kind of like it's nothing like mushrooms because I've done all that plenty of times. It's very different. And one thing I just wanted to mention is that these supposed, hallucinations, that word doesn't mean anything to me. What hallucinations are is you accessing a dimensional gateway and into other realms, and more so I would like to say that you are opening multiple portals simultaneously into simultaneous realms when you're doing things such as mushrooms. I don't know about LSD, I've never tried it, but things of a hallucinogenic nature, these are all real. The hallucinations, they exist in some form or another in the alternate reality that you've accessed. So, having said that, this is what I ended up experiencing. But first of all, it's extremely dangerous. It kills people. This it's called jimson weed or datura. I believe it's also called deadly nightshade. And I was 17 when I tried it. We had a roommate living with us and my mom and others, and I took it during the day in the form of like a brewed tea, basically. And nothing happened. Basically, I only experienced maybe like slight distortions or blurred vision, maybe some sort of auditory type of events that were really subtle and barely even noticeable. Throughout the days, I'm just going about my day normally. And from what I understand, this sort of thing can hit you way later. Way later. Sorry if there's background noise. Um, can't really do anything about that. So, and that's exactly what happened. So I went to sleep as normal, and I woke up basically not quite in a state of sleep paralysis, but really similar. And I'm in a state of complete and total absolute terror. Standing in front of me, in front of my bed, was a tall, skinny, black, solid black shadow. And its presence was so imposing and so real. And I could actually feel it so close to me, I could actually almost feel it touching me. And I look at it, I scream off the top of my lungs. I run around the room going absolutely wild. I'm looking for the light. I am in the most terror and horror I've ever been in. It's a state of absolute 100% fear, and it's almost synthetic fear. I turn on the light. Everyone had to come in the room and hold me down, because I was just in a state of absolute distress. Um, what followed after were visual hallucinations, hallucinations of things that are. I was seeing faces come out of walls, literally faces manifesting on the wall, and they were grotesque, grinning, sinister, kind of reminded me of Jack from the Shining movie when he broke through the door with an axe, those similar type of grins. I couldn't stay by myself. I had to go, be with somebody. And I started seeing these light beings, these beings made of light. They were also tall. They looked like they were the opposite of the dark shadow, but the form was exactly the same. They were kind of oscillating this whitish blue hue, and they were shimmering kind of like in an angelic way. And they were walking through, and they were just walking around. It almost seemed like they were paying no attention to me whatsoever. I was just simply observing them, and them, I wasn't afraid of them. They actually had a calming presence. So eventually, this subsided, but there was after effects after this that lasted for days, for days. So it's just goes to show, it's not a good idea, not a good idea to venture into such things, and opening doorways like this, and you know but it's just it's part of the tapestry of my experiences that I can't ignore and can't step aside, can't let go just because it involved a substance. Of course, most of my experiences did not, including my NDE and hellish OBE, being totally sober. But these things also open doorways and gateways, as someone who took ayahuasca or mushrooms will tell you that they very much do. And there, of course, can be positive effects, but I don't condone anything. And that experience left me scarred. That black shadow left me truly scarred and in distress. To this day, I'll never forget. Anyway, uh, you guys want to, just my opinion, something possibly unrelated. If you watch the movie Alien Resurrection, that's the fourth Alien movie in the series. That's the it was directed by the same person that I believe made Dark City and City of Lost Children. And that movie is about cloning and alien hybrids. And I think there's a lot of truth dropping. The reason why I'm talking about this because I've been discussing clones with my friend for a couple of days, and just thinking about them in general. And an unexpected place where I think there's a lot of truth drops about the nature of our reality is the cartoon Rick and Morty. There is stuff in there that I think actually pertains to true reality and how it operates. And I don't think that's by accident. So, yeah. Um, uh, Anybody have any questions or whatever? Don't forget to not put on Rick James or, um, you know, Marvin Gaye, because honestly, Rick James looked absolutely ridiculous with that hair. He wasn't attractive at all. I'm sorry. So, nothing sexual, so be happy.